Hey crafty people, it's Tasha and I'm back with another video tutorial for WOW Embossing Powder. Today's video is a bit of a mashup between my Back to Basics and Make It WOW series, and I've got so many awesome techniques and ideas to share with you, so let's get right to it. We're starting with some of this spring gingham pattern paper from Catherine Pooler. I want to emboss directly on top of it, so I'm going to cover it with our ultra slow drying embossing ink, and the most efficient way to do this is definitely with a brayer. I'm loading that up with my ink and then brayering it directly onto the paper. You want to keep lifting the brayer and placing it down in a different spot to ensure that you get good coverage over the entire area. I'm going to be cutting that large Crafty Meraki die from it, so I just keep checking that I've got enough of an area covered. Once I have, I'm covering the whole thing with our clear holographic embossing sparkles. With any of our embossing sparkles, you want to give the jar a really good shake before every use to make sure that the glitter and powder are evenly distributed. Then I'm heat setting from beneath to make sure that I'm not blowing away any of those gorgeous sparkles with my heat gun. If you've never seen our holographic powder before, then you might not believe your eyes. It's absolutely stunning and it's without doubt shamefully underrated. It's elevating that pattern paper so much. I love it. I've set that aside to work on my background. Another of our massively underrated products are our Fab Foilers, and I'm using one of the panels from the background art set. These panels take ink beautifully and they work particularly well with Catherine Pooler's line of inks. I'll often just take the pad directly to the paper when I'm inking these, but seeing as I already had my brayer out, I decided to have a little fun. I think that I was feeling inspired by my Irish heritage, given that we'd just had St. Patrick's Day, so I've opted for a green theme through this card. To be honest, that's quite a challenge for me because green isn't a colour that I reach for often, at least not when I aren't using it for a rainbow anyway. I went all over with grass skirt and now I'm creating a bit of an ombre with some of this Deck the Halls one. It's not as smooth as it would be by going straight to paper, but it uses less ink, so I'm happy with that. Obviously, these Fab Foilers were made to work with our Fab Foil, which is a toner activated foil. So when you run these through something that applies heat and force, the foil will adhere to the toner. That could be anything from a laminator to a mink machine or even a glimmer type machine. But I didn't want to get my laminator out and get it heated up, so I decided to grab my heat gun, cut up some bright gold foil and just see what I could do. So I'm starting with a small area and just heating that with my heat gun on setting 2 for a few seconds, then quickly placing down some foil. Don't rub it with your fingers like I did the first time, because if it's still hot enough to work, it's going to be way too hot and you could burn yourself. If it's a safe temperature for fingers, then your toner wasn't hot enough to really bond with the foil. But enough foil did transfer to let me know that I was definitely onto something here. After a bit of trial and error, I got into the swing of things. So I held the heat tool around 2 to 3 inches above the panel and held it on that area for kind of 5-10 seconds. I've got a cork mat underneath to protect my desk and help heat the toner too. Then, carefully but quickly, put the foil pretty side up on top of that heated area and lay something that you can use to press the foil down over it. I'm using this pressure tool. It was designed for stamping, but it worked perfectly to add the pressure part of that duo of things needed for the foil to bond. I just continued around the whole panel, adding my foil bit by bit. I even left it a little distressed in some areas because I really like the effect of that against the greens. Now, whilst I don't pretend to really understand the intricacies of laser printers, I do have a bit of knowledge on toner to explain how and why this all happens. So toner is the ink substitute that's used in laser printers, and it starts out as a powder which is then heated onto the paper when you print something. Fab Foilers are toner printed, and when you reheat it, the toner reactivates briefly and you can press the foil into it. The toner bonds to the foil, and when you peel back the release sheet, all of the foil has stayed on your project. Let's see what else we can do with this foil, and this one is a totally heat-free way to use it. I've got some foam sheets that have adhesive on both sides. So I peeled back the release from one side and I'm laying it onto my fab foil. You always need to remember that the pretty side of your foil should be facing away from whatever surface you want to foil. So I've got it face down here because I'm laying the foam on top of it. That's just to make it a little bit easier. I wanted to get my foil to be as crease free as I can get it, so I was a little bit worried when I turned it over, but I decided to press on to make sure that I've got the best adhesion I can. I'm running the foam through my mini die cutting tool, taking it slowly through and then back again. Now I can peel back that release sheet to see a crystal clear film, which means all of the lovely foil has transferred over onto my foam. I'm pulling that large birthday die from Crafty back out, and I'm cutting this from my gold foiled foam and also from that holographic pattern paper that we made at the start of the video. All of this rolling through a die cutting machine is going to squish that foam down, but with a little time that's going to pop right back up to its original thickness. I'm going to adhere the patterned die cut on top of the gold foam one with a little bit of an offset to give my sentiment a little bit of a drop shadow, which will help it pop so much more. I want to cut one of these scripty words that comes with the Slimline birthday tag set from the same gold foil, so I've adhered some more onto another piece of foam, and after running that through my machine I can peel that release back again. This die is much smaller and I don't want the foil to get damaged when it's being cut, so I'm laying the release paper from my foam back over the foil. I've got its shiny side down, and that's just going to sit between the die and the foil and just protect it. One last thing that I need to die cut before I can start assembling my card. I'm going to cut a banner from some Nina £80 with the tag die set that's part of the Slimline birthday tag set. I'm using liquid glue to adhere my two layers together, and I started with just adhesive on that first column of letters. I got that into the right place and gave it a few seconds to start adhering before carefully adding glue onto the rest of the letters. Again, I'm holding it in place whilst the glue really grips between those two. Then I can peel back the release from the back of the foam and adhere this in place on the tag banner piece. Even though this set was actually designed to use on Slimline cards, it really does work well on an A2 card as well. Then that gold foiled happy can go into place, and I've added it with a bit of a curve just for some extra interest. I love that every now and then my studio lights hit the holographic, and that's right in that sweet spot, and we just keep getting these flashes of colour. Oh, it's stunning. Now, I didn't notice until I actually turned the panel over, but it got a little close to burning my panel in a few areas. So make sure you are careful when applying heat, because those guns really are hot enough to catch cardstock on fire. Just ask me how I know. I trimmed the green and gold panel to 4 by 5 1/4 inches, and I'm adding it onto my A2 card base. Rather than positioning it in the centre, I've shifted it up to the top of the card base. Then I'm adding the banner with foam tape to pop it up a little bit. Again, positioning it on the top edge, but I can flip it over and trim off any overhang. This way I know that the top of the banner will be completely flush with the top of my card. So we have quite a few different products and techniques all on this one card. So I'm hoping that everyone can find something that inspires them. Let me know which technique was your favourite in the comments below. And please share this video with any crafty friends that you think would enjoy it. If you're new to our channel or aren't subscribed yet, then we'd really love to have you join us. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you never miss any of our videos. Thank you for spending this time with me today. I hope you have a lovely, happy, safe and wonderful week. Stay crafty. Bye.